So, I have to admit, for almost as long as I've been in church, I've often struggled with my testimony. When you hear the stories from people who have overcome so much and they thank God for it, my little story about an introverted nerd who finds truth in the story of Jesus seems unremarkable. I didn't come from a broken home. I didn't get caught up in cycles of violence, abuse, or addiction. I was loved, pushed to succeed, and I never went without anything that I needed. But I did have a problem, a big one, and it was where I got my sense of value from. So I was pushed from a young age to do better, to try harder, um, to end up in a better place than my parents did. I was one of the smart kids, so I was a straight A student, but because of that push to always achieve, I did hear about it when I didn't get an A on something. Honestly, even when I don't get 100% on things, I would hear stuff. I still remember a group project from when I was in 5th or 6th grade where my normal contribution netted me a C because another classmate really stepped up and went for it. And I felt punished because someone else who normally didn't try as hard put forth extra effort. That really started me down a loner's path. See, I had worked hard for my top grades, and it felt like every time that I got stuck in a group, I was doing all the work to elevate everyone else's grades. But if one of the others did really bad, or even did really good, somehow, I would get the teacher's punishment for it. So I became this trophy hunting lone wolf. I'd do everything on my own, and I would be destroyed by a bad grade. Because the good ones, they gave me value. I won't get too deep into this, but that lone wolf attitude kept me safe from the relentless bullying of middle and high school. I put up those walls to keep people out, so they couldn't see me hurt. But the side effect is that I became very lonely. I had kind of a revolving door of friends, which resulted in not really being tight-knit with anyone. What that meant was no real support system when things in life got rough. In my sophomore year of high school, I tried my hand at basketball, and it did not end well. I wasn't very good, and since I didn't let my walls down a lot, that was a hit on the pride for me too. Later that year, my parents split up. I was mature for my age, so that didn't crush me, but it was definitely a huge change. It felt like a 180 to a new lifestyle, right? But I poured myself even more into doing well in school. Do better, I said. As we neared the end of my junior year, my focus turned to Governor Scholar, which is a Kentucky program that basically nets you a full ride to college. But because our school is so small, they could only nominate and send 2 people at the time. And my super strong academic history wasn't good enough. My guidance counselor told me that they chose 2 who were better representatives of the school because one was a cheerleader and one was a starter on the basketball team. Remember that year I tried basketball and failed? Double ouch. So moving past that disappointment from junior year, I get into senior year and I feel like my full ride is gone. And my brain just keeps rationalizing that idea that my guidance counselor kept telling me, that it felt like saying that I wasn't good enough. And I fell apart. Every system that I felt like I had put my faith in had let me down. You know, I had been part of a 2-parent household growing up, unlike a lot of friends and people that I knew, and that was suddenly gone. Close friends and a relationship that I had kind of vanished with that summer. And now academics even had failed me. So I started to not care about school. I dropped from that 3-way tie for valedictorian that was going on at school. I actually had to skip several big senior year events to make up work in order to graduate. And then I totally flunked out of college. See, my entire world had been built around my own abilities. my own blood, sweat, and tears. When I hit that point of being told by the world that I wasn't good enough, I hit rock bottom. How does a straight A 4.0 high school student go to college dropout? That's what happens when you put your faith in yourself, believe you need no help, and that you can do it all on your own. Proverbs 16:18 says, "Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall." But one massive positive came out of a broken relationship that I had that junior year. That person brought me to church. While I was there, I found truth and hope in the message of Jesus, even though at the time I was still trying to do it without his help. So when I hit true rock bottom, relying on only my own abilities, this time I had started building an actual network of people who would be there for me at every low point. I can't say enough about the family I have at church that have seen me through so much now. That's where the truth of Jesus' ultimate sacrifice takes over. My value, it isn't in what my mind can accomplish or my hands can obtain. I am a child of God. I'm beloved, treasured. I'm God's workmanship. Another translation says I'm his masterpiece. He did all of this just for me. Nothing can separate me from the love of God, and nothing can make God love me less. See, my value doesn't come from those around me. It comes from above. I don't have to worry about ever being good enough again because God has made me good enough. He made me to be me. No one else can be me, and I don't need to be anyone else. 9 years. 9 years after graduating high school. I went on a 9-year plan, apparently. 8 years after my first academic suspension dropping out of college, I got another chance at school. And I graduated with honors. See, but this time it wasn't about my ability, but it was all about God's grace and timing, right? So the first time I felt like I went trying to find a school to conquer. I was going to conquer academics because I just had to get it under my feet and I had to be the champion of it. I had to be the best at it. And I fell on my face. And this time I actually sought out a Christian school, which Regent University here, you can see on my shirt. And I got a foundation in Scripture and in really getting deep in the Word and learning more about the Word and the origins of the Word. And it proved to be an experience that I wouldn't trade for anything. Sometimes you have to go the long way around, and sometimes you're better off for it. Because I've truly learned at this point that I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Through him, I am more than a conqueror. So I'll challenge you right now. Where do you get your worth? Do you get your worth out of what people say about you? Do you get your worth out of getting good grades in school or getting a raise or getting a promotion? It's not about that. It's about knowing that you are a child of God, knowing that you are made in his image, that you are his perfect creation. You, as you are, just as you are. Not something that you're trying to achieve or not something that you're striving for or not some other person that you think you might need to be, but exactly who God made you.